Now for a couple of reminders. Going back to ArrayLocalVariable2, that was the case where we basically took and changed this from being a 6-element long array to being 3, followed by a b, followed by another 3-element array. And what we took away from that is that the compiler can go ahead and reorder these local variables if it likes. They don't have to be exactly the order that they were declared in the C high-level source code. Then in our previous example, StructLocalVariable0 no cookie, we saw that basically the order of the values on the stack was exactly the order of the struct. It was upside down, but otherwise everything was the same. A, B, C, A, B, C. So what we want to do in this upcoming example is we want to play the same game that we played in the previous array local variable. We're going to still have A as a short as our first thing, so we expect that'll probably still go there. But now with the B, instead of having 6 integers, we're going to change it to being 6 longs, and then we're going to split it by putting the C. And we want to see, is the compiler going to put it exactly the order of 3 B's and then the C and then the D, because we know that C is going to have this Balboa bled blood, which will be our sort of trigger of, is things reordered? Is it been placed in the middle of these things? And then just for good measure, I'm going to go ahead and throw in a bunch of extra stuff just to see what sort of effects that has on padding and placement of all the various things. So here is our new and more complicated StructLocalVariable2. We defined the myStruct now as having the short, the 3-element array, single scalar, 3-element array, and extra stuff. Then we do a variety of initializations with values that are just there to help you see what's going onto the stack where. So these are obviously just to help you out and figure out which area on the stack is B of 0, which area is C, which area is A2. Obviously, it won't exactly help you differentiate B of 0 from 1 from 2, but you could change that if you'd like to figure it out more concretely. All right, popping up our new assembly for this compilation, and we get a few new assembly instructions, but the text is getting a little small there. So let's zoom on in and see that we have a new SB, LHU, and LBU. So what are those assembly instructions? Now, as a reminder, in the previous section, we saw LH load half word, and it took an immediate, added it to the register, and then loaded the value from memory, a half word value from memory, into the destination register, and ultimately sign extended it to 64 bits. Therefore, it should be relatively easy for us to understand LHU, because this is now load half word unsigned. So unsigned from memory to register. So the key difference is it's going to do 0 extension instead of sign extension, because it is treating that 16 bits as an unsigned value. So same way that it's written, and it's a load assembly instruction. So we know that loads collect memory from this side and load it into a register. So it loads the half word or 16-bit value from the memory address that is defined as RS1 plus immediate 12. The immediate 12 itself is still a signed value, so that will be sign extended and added to the RS2, so it could be plus or minus. Calculate a memory address, but then when you pull it in and store it in the destination, it should be 0 extended. It should just be treated as unsigned. And just like with LH, when you're running 32-bit code, the 0 extension to 32 bits, you're done. And when you're running 64-bit, 0 extended to 64 bits, and you're done. Now, I am a broken record, and I thought about deleting this, the portion where it says, like most instructions, this one is read from right to left. But then I thought, well, what if someone just comes and looks at this thing in the non-animated form, in the PDF exported form? I want them to still understand what's going on. So I kept these extra things that I've said for every single load and every single store throughout the class, just because someone may see it in the exported class materials. And also, you should always remember that repetition is the basis of memorization. Okay, so now we've got a store. Store from the left to the right. And this is going to take the bottom byte, store byte, take the bottom byte of RS2, the bottom 8 bits, and store it to memory. Where in memory? Well, at RS1 plus sign extended immediate 12, that's going to be a byte memory address. And again, it is stored from left to right, and again, parentheses means grab from memory. Okay, and then there's load byte unsigned. So just like load half word unsigned, this is going to use 0 extension rather than sign extension, and it's loading a byte, so it is only grabbing 8 bits and then 0 extending it to 32 and subsequently 64 bits. So load, we calculate a memory address. The immediate is still a sign extended immediate. So RS1 plus sign extended 12, get that as a memory address and pluck out a byte and 0 extend it and stick it into RD. Duplicate, duplicate, same things as always. All right, great. So time for you to figure out where all of that stuff is stored on the stack. And you do it like you always do it, by stopping, stepping through the assembly, and drawing yourself a stack diagram.